And welcome everybody to the Bison Video Blog on this Monday morning with Jeff Kolpack from the Forum. I'm Izzo from WDAY Sports. No shortage of things to chat about, Jeffrey, after the Bison victory against East Tennessee State. We'll look ahead to Towson as they come in for homecoming here in a moment. But these are the kind of days I love having a show like this and Hot Mic, because there's no shortage of things to chat about. Emotions, I think, as the poll question I put out there, are pretty much right down the middle. Fans, I think, are excited about the comeback, but certainly frustrated about how the game played out on Saturday night.
Well, I think when you look at this game and you get over the emotions of the win, I think if you're the coaching staff and players, I think you got to take the emotions out of it and give a thorough evaluation. The Bison gave up 270 yards of rushing.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to get torched by a hot quarterback who's throwing the ball. I mean, that happens. Quarterbacks get hot, receivers get hot. But rushing is pretty basic, and they found some openings up the middle. I mean, they didn't do anything exotic,
No.
I didn't think. I'm talking about East Tennessee State. Although, you know, they were scheming for this game for a long time, because this was their Super Bowl and all that, you know, World Series. You could say what you want. They've been looking forward to this game for a long time, and they were ready for the Bison. And I thought they had a good plan and scheme, and they found something in NDSU's defensive line and linebackers that obviously exploited them, and the Bison really didn't have an answer.
No, you saw the highlights. I mean, they're not it's not like jet sweeps or reverses or anything like. They're going up the middle. And Bryson Irby, number 7, they're one of their talented running backs. He would get through the line of scrimmage, and then he's into the second level, and no one's touching him. I mean, that's the concerning part. So it's the question going forward now, as you're in a game 4, is it now a coaching deal? Is it players? What do you do going forward defensively with this team?
Well, as somebody emailed your Hot Mic show this morning, I guess everything's on the table, Dom. And you look at this play right here, look at the opening there, then players are diving for them, and that's basic fit, I suppose. I mean, you hear that all the time. We need our fits. We need our fits. Well, I guess we didn't see those fits. I guess we didn't see defensive linemen coming off.
No, they're there. He's untouched, Jeff.
Like, he hasn't been touched yet.
Yeah, not until he gets pushed out of bounds there. I mean, that's the concerning part. That now the 24-hour thing is long gone. That's what they're addressing here today. Is it out of the realm of possibility that we see some shake-up in the lineup?
I'll say it again. Everything's on the table, Dom. And now we've seen 3 games. Colorado, the Bison gave up 26 points. But that was Colorado, dynamic duo, and Shadir Sanders and Travis Hunter. Excusable for a young secondary at spots. You didn't have Cole Wisniewski, and that's probably hurt in more ways than one. So you have that. Tennessee State, you know what? They were not good. I guess now you sort of have to put that aside. But now you look at your data points. And the data points last week against East Tennessee State were, well, there's certainly questions at least.
And we don't know how good they're going to be either going forward. We'll see on ETSU. I mean, I like their coach. You're absolutely right, though. They played at FBS and a D2, so there was nothing really you could gauge out of their first 2 games until what we saw Saturday night. And, boy, they played a heck of a game.
And I guess the same for the Bison now. A CAA team comes in this week in Towson. But, okay, Colorado, FBS, had a good performance against Colorado State, especially defensively. And then you had Tennessee State, which I don't think they'll be very good. They're Ohio Valley and
they've won 2 games. Yeah, they beat
middle of the road.
So they beat Pine Bluff and Mississippi Valley State. Those are one of the worst FCS teams out there right now. So it's not, no great shakes.
But Towson comes in with playing Villanova tough. Should have won that game. I thought they played their FBS game pretty good. I mean, I thought that was.
They lost to Cincinnati, but they hung around in that for a bit.
It was 38-20 or something like that. So it was acceptable. It didn't get blown out. Cincinnati, a perennial pretty good program.
Now a Big 12 team.
Yeah. So, there's no – if they were underestimating, I'm talking about the Bison, in any way, shape, or form, East Tennessee State, that's got to go out the window now.
Let's chat about that Towson team, because they also nearly pulled off a heck of an upset. And Towson was picked – the CAA now, Jeff, is 15 teams. But they were picked in the bottom half of that league. And – they went, and you'll see in the highlights here, against Villanova and nearly shocked the world there against the Wildcats. They got off to a good start in this game. They took the early lead on it, and now we saw Towson 3 years ago, and they were not good. Rob Ambrose, who was the coach of the team that led him to the national championship game, was let go after the 2022 season. Pete Shinnick is the new coach. He won a championship, a D2 title at West Florida. He's a Baltimore guy. You know that area. We've been out there. There are good football players there, and this, I think, is going to be maybe a better game than we initially thought on the schedule.
Well, we're looking. They have some athletes here.
Yeah.
They have some speed. I think their quarterback's a pretty good thrower. Seems certainly a better thrower than what the Bison saw last week in King. And let's look at this play here. That's a pretty good arm there, and there's a big tight end right there. That's another 6'6" guy that the NDSU saw last week at East Tennessee. It's gonna. And these guys might be a little more physical than East Tennessee State, too.
Carter Runyon, you're talking about, is the guy who caught it. 6'6", 235 is the tight end for Towson. And they got a chance to win this game. You see Villanova fumbled with a minute to go. They get it down to the 20-yard line. And this is their all-conference kicker, and Keegan Vaughn, a 37-yarder. Jeff, this is not a difficult field goal, and he just pushed it and lost the game.
And it's the second field goal he missed in the last 2:30 of the game. Missed one 40-plus yards before that. Then Villanova fumbled to get it back, and he's a first-team all-conference first-team.
Yep, that's a difficult loss for them. So we'll see. I think a pretty interesting game on Saturday. I'm really intrigued to see how the Bison. It's homecoming. There's emotion with that. Craig Bull's going to be back. There's going to be plenty of emotion tied to that, and I'm really intrigued to see what Bison football team shows up on Saturday.
Yeah, I feel like in Towson, the Bison are seeing a program that under Rob Ambrose, I thought the last time they played him in 2021, they were on the decline.
Yes.
Yeah, they made the national title game in, 2013?
Yep.
And then it was, I think, the Ambrose era took that as far as he could.
Yeah.
Now this guy, he's won a D2 title. I feel like it's similar to what Trey Lamb did last week with East Tennessee. New blood. They're coming off 3-8 seasons. Trey Lamb comes in and really throws some punch into this team. I think maybe this guy has that ability to do so too.
All right, before we go, you had a highly visible post on Inforum.com yesterday.
And
I always
responded.
I love
you
lists.
Responded.
I love lists. You had the top 10 Bison rallies of the Division I era.
Yep.
You don't want to go back too far because I'm sure there's going to be a D2 game that none of us know anything about.
Yep.
And
you took issue with
there's two I would take out because it's not definition of rally. I would take out the Ball State game in 2006. It was the first FBS win. The Bison scored late on a touchdown.
Okay, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
First FBS win, Dom. And a rally, I think there needs to be a sense of drama to it, like a play that just sort of goes crazy and ends the game. And that was the wide receiver screen to Travis White.
Yep.
With what, in the last 2 minutes, that won the first FBS win. Dom.
I know.
You're missing. You're missing.
I'm not missing. I'm going by definition of rally. That was a back and forth game.
This is my definition, not yours. Anyway, go ahead. What's
okay.
your other one?
I would add 2 games from 2015 onto there. One was Carson Wentz to Darius Shepard, back of the end zone, to win the game for the Bison with under 30 seconds to go.
I may have missed that.
31-28 was the final. The other is a game I know Bison fans will remember forever, was also 2015 at Youngstown State. The Bison entered that fourth quarter, was 24-10. Down to Youngstown. Easton Stick, redshirt freshman, led the Bison on 2 touchdowns and a field goal. They outscored Youngstown 17-rip in the fourth quarter to rally and win that game.
And
a
that's
game
where
that Bo
Pelini
Pelini went nuclear on the officials at the end of a pass interference call on
it's a tough call being in my spot. You got all these curmudgeons like you trying to nitpick at what I do.
17-0 down.
So you replace the Ball State. What else would you replace?
Oh, goodness. I would maybe the Sam Houston game.
Oh,
that Bomar game.
Oh, so Sam Houston scores with 27 seconds left, and the game's over. Fans are hitting the exits. Steve Walker in 3 plays leads him down the field and scores with 7 seconds left. What's so not dramatic about that?
I'm not saying it's not dramatic, but again, that was
you need drama in rallies. Rallies equals drama.
That was a back and forth game. I would pose that.
When you've been to 34 FCS stadiums, talk to me like I tweeted.
I'm at 25 here.
Well,
coming up here. Don't forget, we're back with you. I don't know. Maybe we can keep this conversation going on Bison Game Day on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. to get you ready for homecoming. And note the start time. We're on the air at 12:50. And then kickoff at 1 o'clock. No more evening kickoffs. Let's play some football early in the game, with Towson and North Dakota State. Kickoff just after 1 o'clock at Gate City Bank Field at the Fargo Dome. For Jeff Kolpack, I'm Dom Izzo. That's this week's Bison Video Blog.